So we finally got to our campsite. It's even nicer than I thought it was. I mean, just look at the view and how close it is to the river. I checked out a couple other ones and did not have any luck. Thank God I took the e-bike down first instead of trying to drive down there. I would never have gotten back out of the tight 2-track that I was going down in some of these places. So as you can see, this is an amazing campsite. I'm glad I took my e-bike because once you're committed down here, there'd be no turning around and no getting Eddie out of here. Would be completely trapped. So that's why I explored it on my e-bike. I looked at it on Onyx. It looked like an amazing campsite, which it is, but it certainly is not going to be something I can get Eddie down anytime soon. It's already 6 o'clock, so I'm going to set up camp, but later on in the video, I'll show you how I find spots like this so close to beautiful rivers in Michigan. Probably one of the things I use on my Apple Watch the most is the compass. So when I pull into a spot that I'm going to camp out with the trail, I try to get the solar panels pointed south, best case scenario. In this scenario, it's pretty tight in here, so that is east. So hopefully I'm going to get some sunshine in the morning. By afternoon, obviously the sun's going to be setting there. So hopefully I get a little bit of sun in the morning to charge up the batteries, but again, I'm going to be here 4 days. My batteries are fully charged, so it should be fine, but that's just something to consider. Got a little muddy with all my Baja and looking for campsites. And it's got to go up a little bit. So if you're new to the channel, welcome to the inside of my DIY travel trailer. It's 7 feet wide by 12 feet long. I've been building it for the last 3 years, taking on adventures, and this is a quick tour of the inside of it. Okay, if you're new to my channel, here is the layout of my DIY travel trailer that I affectionately call Eddie. There's the kitchen. Behind that door is the bathroom. The unfinished wood there is the pantry. And the main reason why I built this trailer is to have a comfortable camping environment, yet still be able to get into remote locations and have adventures like we're going to have in this one. So we're going to be here for 4 days, and I figure I got my laptop out. I will show you how I located this spot. So I'm going to log into my Onyx account. Here's the campsite that I checked out with my e-bike at the beginning of the video and the route I followed to get to it. Here's where we're camped right now. This is the route I float down the river to get back to the camper. This is the way that I came in from the highway. So in Michigan, there's lots of rustic campsites that you can use along rivers. You can camp there, but the fee is about 20 bucks US a night. So this location that I'm at, for example, if you spent 4 nights at a location for free, you would have paid for your Onyx subscription just in camp fees. So it certainly is worth looking into, and I'm very happy with it. I'm glad I have it because I use it now for all my trip planning in Michigan and anywhere else in the United States. So that's how I find these campsites. If you're interested in getting a subscription, I have a discount code you can use to get your subscription and find your remote locations. Feel free to use it. It helps the channel a little bit, but it's mainly to help you get out and find these great campsites. So now I'm going to continue unpacking the inside of the trailer, get everything set up, and then I'll see you in the morning to start our fishing adventure. So just a quick breakfast today, and the plan is to take the truck with the canoe upstream, and we're going to put in at the river there and float our way back to Eddy and disembark with all our gear here. And then I'll take my e-bike back upstream to get the truck and then come on back. So that's the plan this morning. So I'm gonna have a quick breakfast. I didn't plan to do a long stretch of river. Sometimes I've overextended myself and I don't have enough time to fish and it's stressful. So worst case scenario, it'll be too short of a day, but I think it should be just perfect. And it'll be a perfect time to just kind of dial everything in. And I'm really excited to show you my new canoe setup. And if you're new to the channel, I've been tweaking lots of different ways to fish these Michigan rivers, and I think this one should work good. Now that I'm here for the 4 days, I'm going to swap out the e-bike rack that I drove up here with, and I'm going to put it in the back of my truck. Okay, so we're at the river access site. I used Onyx to track the distance from the campsite to the river here, and it took about 25 minutes. It was 8.5 miles. So that's a good distance to get back on my e-bike because I need to retrace my steps that I just did. It took me 25 minutes in the truck. Half of that was really deep sanded remote forest road, so it's going to be really slow with the e-bike, and then you get on some asphalt for the other half. So I'm figuring it's going to at least be an hour on the e-bike to get back here, so I got to factor that in with the day. So it's early in the morning still. I'm going to put the canoe in the water, and then I'm going to show you the modifications and the modular system that I got for fishing these Michigan rivers, because I've been working on it for a while. I just can't find something that I really like, but I think this might be it. So let's get in the water and I'll show you what I got. Here's my canoe as it is, and here's me quickly attaching all the modifications to it. So I find if I just adjust the anchor enough where it ticks at the bottom, it gives me a nice slow drift down the river, and I can stay in the middle and pretty much direct where I'm going. Hit the fishy spots with all the down wood and everything else, and the deep holes. This is kind of what I envisioned with this setup. That, you know, I ideally would like to stand up, but I got this rotating seat that I had for my raft project, and it's very comfortable. So I'm up a little bit. And the reason why I have the stabilizers is because I want to be comfortable and I want to be able to sit up and fish how I'm fishing here. With a normal canoe setup, you can do that, but the canoe's a little tippy. It's not quite as comfortable as this is. This is very comfortable. So I just got my first trout. It's kind of nice to finally get on the board, even though he shook off just before I got him into the boat. Pretty nice. System's working pretty good. You can see slowly working my way down the river. Nice, it's the pace and being able to find the right size river here in Michigan, downstream enough where it's a little wider and I got a little more room and forgiveness, but still lots of structure where you can find lots of fish. Hopefully, hopefully you can find lots of fish. Really good. Listen, I mean, there's a ton of good spots. Oh! We're on the board! Beauty brown. Look at that. man! I lost two nice ones. I'm gonna have to sharpen my hook on this Rapala. All right, so let me go over some of the positives. Number one, the chain anchor that I have is absolutely perfect. It took me a while to get it dialed in, but now all I'm really doing is I can control how slow I drift down the river. It's a 10-foot chain and I've attached it in the middle, so I'm dragging 5 feet. So I can pull it up and it's still gonna be dangling like 3 feet onto the, into the water. But for the river that I'm on right now, that's fine. Right now I've got it dropped and it's actually anchored. So it's strong enough where it will hold me in a current. And if I want to pull it up, then I can slowly pull it up and then I'll see the boat start to drift a little bit down the river. And I've been able to make my cast and fishing the spots that I wanted to fish, where before I wasn't able to do that. So I'm propped up at least another 6 inches from what I normally would be doing if I was just sitting on my canoe seats. But I have this swivel seat here that I got from... that I just got from Bass Pro Shop, and I had it on my raft project that's still very much a work in progress. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it in here. And I got these stabilizers from Amazon, which I was really hesitant to get. But what I like about these things is that they come off really quickly. You know, my canoe is just 36 inches wide. I can get through a lot of downfall and that sort of thing. So I like the ability of just quickly snapping them off and being able to just direct the canoe down the river. But I certainly haven't had to worry about tipping when I'm sitting. I've actually stood up a little bit and done some fishing. I can do that right now. So it's not perfect, but it's certainly reassuring that you're not going to tip, sort of thing. And again, I'm pretty comfortable with just being in the rotating chair here. That works really well. So that's worked out really great. The placement of everything is pretty good. I have a ton of room here, which I really like. I just like probably at least 3 feet by 3 feet, just an open space where I can put my legs, throw stuff, tackle, change my lures, play with cameras, that sort of stuff. But that works out really good. Got my cooler for my lunches. You know, overall, pretty good. It just took a while to get adjusted to it. If I put out too much line, the canoe would swing back and forth in the current, and that was really frustrating, but I figured that out. And as far as now, it's just kind of camera placement to film for you guys, but I just wanted to stop and I'll give you a quick little tour of things, and now it's back down the river and get to do some more fishing. Glad I got one on video. I've lost probably 6 of these little guys today, but they're fun to catch, but they're striking, but I'm not hooking them and landing them. There you go. There's my takeout. I don't want to miss that or I'm screwed. There's that old dock there. Well, I was able to keep my feet dry all day, but that's where I gotta go. You know, that path at the other end of the dock, but I have a feeling this is gonna be very mucky. Okay, it's 5:15. Took me 6 hours to float just over 6 miles of river, and I really took my time. Did a lot of fishing. Amazing, I only landed the 2. Had probably at least 8 strikes from trout that are about 8 inches long. They all seem to be the same size. They hit the rapala and be able to pull them in for a little bit and they shake loose. So maybe I need to use a smaller rapala tomorrow. But now I got to hop on the e-bike. I brought everything up from the river. It's kind of a bit of a yard sale right here, so I've got everything just thrown in front of the trailer. Put my helmet on, put the battery in the e-bike, unlock it, head out. Probably gonna take me about an hour to get back to the truck. About that. And then, I would love a beer right now, but I'm gonna need all my skills for that sandy road with my e-bike, so I'm gonna save that beer till later. Well, the e-bike was quicker than I thought it was going to be. I really thought I was going to struggle on the sand, and it was slow, but it took me 34 minutes to get back here. And I think when I took the truck, I mean, I was going slow, but it took me 24 minutes. So once I get the e-bike on the pavement, it goes up to 50 kilometers an hour. So, you know, I really make up some time there. And on the sand, I mean, I don't think I went much slower than the truck because the truck just bogs down in the sand as well. So. Okay, now I feel better. Now it's time to barbecue. All the hard work's done now. There we go. This, people ask me all the time, how come I don't eat the fish I caught? Sometimes I do. This is rainbow trout that my buddy gave me. He caught this summer out in the lake. So got to use that up. So by the time I finish this up, get the drone up maybe and grab a sunset shot, get a fire going. Gonna be a pretty good night. Nice thing about using charcoal is makes for an easy fire later on. I know you're technically not supposed to do this, but I do it once in a while. It's not a big deal. Coals are going. Throw your kindling on. It's a lazy man's fire. I'm okay with that, especially tonight after a long day. Oh, just gonna sit by the fire and we'll see you guys in the morning. So good morning, got a good feel for today. Make some pancakes, we're up early. I think I got my canoe system dialed in. So I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna have some luck and it's gonna be an awesome day out there. The weather is probably too good. Warm and not a cloud in the sky today. This is my cooking system. This is eventually going to be finished with walnut. That's the plan. If you haven't noticed with my trailer, I'm not really super concerned about weight. It's not meant to be a, well, I would like it to be light, but I didn't build it that way. I only built it how I know how to do it. This should be enough carbs to get me through the day. Real maple syrup, banana, chocolate chip. Okay, I can't waste too much time filming this morning. We're going to finish breakfast and we're going to get down to the river. On the board again, another brown. I think that's what I missed yesterday. There we go. Well, I just finished catching that brown trout and I could hear the voices making their way down the river. And I've learned in Michigan, during the school year, at this time of year, you can pretty much expect a middle school flotilla, armada, I don't know what the big term is, but there had to be 40 aluminum canoes banging and clanging and making a shitload of noise. Poor teachers, they had their work cut out for them, but they're all good kids. So I just sat here eating my snacks while they clambered through. And they're on their way. I'll give them some time to get down the river so I can get a little more peace and quiet. I just passed by one of the cottages up on the banks of the river. A sweet old lady just come to the edge of the river to wave to me, say hi, and ask me about my boat. And told her she had a beautiful place on the river. And the first thing she said is like, she shook her head, it's like, it's a lot of work. And it made me think about the video that I just put out probably before this one. I went to my buddy Jay's property and his kind of off-grid cabin and talked about the advantages of having your own place and property as opposed to having your own DIY travel trailer like I have. And I mean, the campsite that I found right on the river, it's beautiful. I mean, if I was shopping for waterfront property, it'd probably be one of the places I'd be looking at. But yet, it's free on public land. Don't have to pay to use it. I can come and go as I like. It's pretty remote where the odds of someone being there are looking at the place and seeing the traffic that must go through there. It doesn't look like it gets a lot of use. So if you pick wisely, you can always have some property to camp on. Well, figure this is a nice spot to stop. A little gravel bank in the middle of the river. Just ankle deep, actually cool off my feet. Today's much hotter than it was yesterday, not a cloud in the sky. I'm gonna take care of this GoPro and get some different shots, and I'll show you, since we're stopped here, a little tour of the boat and how I'm using it today. Okay, I'm back at Eddie. I've hauled all my stuff back up to the trailer. It's much earlier today. It's 2:30. So of course the landing spot to get back to my trailer couldn't be some nice gravelly shoal. It has to be knee-deep muck, and I'm guessing that that's why this spot is not used very often. It's a remote clearing on public land, but if you want to get down to the river and get into the river, expect to go up to your knee in muck getting your boat launched. I put some planks there this time around, but still it's a mess. So that's one of the disadvantages of this spot, but overall pretty darn good. As I was riding back to my truck, I came across a gentleman walking his bike, and I stopped to see if I could help him out.
Good, buddy? Hey, hold on. Good? Not really, but I don't know what you can do for me actually, because
You got a mechanical, or you just lost?
I've been walking my bike because this won't go through the sand.
Oh, buddy, this sucks. I've been fishing here, so I've been back and forth.
Okay.
And all I can tell you is this whole stretch, this trail here, is 8 miles. From there to there is 8 miles. So you're going from there to there, so you got like 20 miles.
And it is better after that.
It is, yeah. There's some cottages, there's houses and stuff, and crushed stone, and then you get the pavement. But this is for at least another couple miles for you. Sorry, man.
Okay. All right.
Watch your sunglasses there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I hope that guy got back safely. I was expecting to cross paths with him, basically retracing my steps back to where I'm here with Eddie, so he must have either got a ride or took a different route, because there's a million routes. So kind of a little dangerous if you don't know where you're going on these Michigan backcountry roads, because there's little turnoffs everywhere and you could get lost in a hurry. So Google Maps does not work out here. So I'm sure he's going to be fine. He had phone reception. He was talking to somebody when I was talking to him, so we'll keep our fingers crossed for him. Well, all the heavy lifting is done for the trip. And what I mean by that is basically carrying my gear up from the river up to the campsite here. I've got 2 full days of fishing with my canoe done. And tomorrow morning I'm going to explore the 2 creeks that are tributaries to this river. So this spot is actually surrounded by these feeder creeks, and I don't know how big they are, but I have my fly rod and thought maybe I'd toy around with maybe some small trout in the creeks. I'll check that out tomorrow, have a big breakfast, but yeah, it's a nice feeling. I got the e-bike back up on the hitch behind Eddie. Just got to load up the canoe, but it's early. It's actually before dinner and not quite dinner time, so time to have a beer and actually enjoy some of the moments that I do on these trips. It's so busy kind of getting the adventure in, filming the adventure for you guys, but also I've learned that I gotta enjoy the moment sometimes, and I do that. I'm getting better and better at it all the time, and that goes with not over planning a trip, making it so epic or too long, and then it's just no fun, right? So today, first day was long, but today got done at a decent hour, got all the heavy lifting done. E-bike worked out great, got back, and time for a beer. Good morning. It's the last day. I'm going to walk down to that stream I was telling you about last night. The beauty of this spot is that there's 2 streams that feed into the big river, and they look like they might be fishy. We'll have to go check it out. I'm going to go for a little hike and walk off my breakfast, and then I'll decide whether to get the fishing gear out. Looks like there's a little path here. No, actually not too bad. Well, I don't know if I'm going to bother getting my fishing gear out, but this would have been a nice place to go cool off after a long day in the hot sun. File that away for next time. So it was worthwhile going to check out the creek. It's a really nice spot. Again, I wish I would have known about it. I would have probably just dunked in there instead of had a shower the one night. But good to know for the future. I'm going to be coming back to this place. I really like what it has to offer. But before I load my canoe onto my truck, I thought I would show you the little mods that I made for it and talk about what I'm going to change in the future, but some of the things that worked really well. So I'll just kind of show you the pieces individually and how they go on the canoe. So this is what I really started with. First time canoeing down some of the rivers in Michigan, I realized that it's not difficult canoeing by any means, but fishing with the current I found difficult. As someone who's used to trolling on northern Ontario lakes, going with the current and actually fishing is challenging. So I thought I want an anchor to be able to stop and fish. So all this is a bunch of scrap plywood. It's nothing fancy, and all I did was mold it to the end of my canoe. So my canoe is a prospector, which means it's symmetrical. And I've done a lot of trips with this, and the beauty of it is you can canoe it forward or backward facing. So if you're a solo paddler, you swap it around and you sit in the front seat and going the opposite direction. If you got two paddlers, you just canoe it the way it's supposed to be. My emblem is at the front of the canoe. So you'll see in the video that I'm actually using it backwards, but when you're by yourself, that's how you use a prospector canoe. So the nice thing about this is this will fit on either bow, and I use these straps just to hold it onto the handle, and that's what holds it in place. So there's a ridge here. This is the groove of this right here, so it kind of fits snug in there. And this happens to be over top of the grab handle, so all I do is I put these straps around the grab handle, and it works great. It holds, it's nice and firm, and with the heavy anchor and sometimes the anchor getting stuck, there's been no issues with that at all. So that's piece number one. And this is the next mod that fits on here. Again, this is the yoke of the canoe, arguably the strongest part of the canoe, the center of this particular canoe, so the balance point, which makes the most sense in my opinion to put the stabilizers. So this is just a scrap piece of 5/8 plywood, sticking with the strap theme. I have 3 straps that strap it to the yoke, keeps it in place very nicely, didn't have any problems with it. Stabilizers were a hit, they worked perfectly, wouldn't change a thing with the stabilizers. Again, if you wanted to stand up fishing, you could maybe add a second pair. They're not that buoyant, but all I want to do is be able to sit up on a kind of a swivel seat and be able to cast. So to me it worked out perfectly, so I have no problems with that. Probably won't need a second pair of stabilizers. I just got those on Amazon. They're, I don't know, no-name stabilizers, but they work really well. I'll put the link in the description of the video. I would change the placement of the rod holders. My theory was that these would be kind of, I could point them in different directions and they would be out of the way. Problem I found was when I was sitting down, I always had to reach forward if I wanted to put the rod while I was paddling. I felt that I was most of the time just leaning my rod on here, so that didn't make any sense. So the next version of this, the rod holders will probably be closer to where I'm sitting, but overall this works out really well. What I really like about this, I'm going to make this a little bigger as a workstation. You can have mounts here. I want to mount something from my cell phone so I can look at my GPS on a map and see where I am. Maybe a GoPro holder. So this, I really like the idea of this. So there'll be a different version, but basically this worked great. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, well, this is a lot of work just to kind of float some rivers, you have to realize that I do a lot of different types of fishing and adventures. My canoe is arguably one of the best canoes you can buy. It's carbon fiber, it weighs just about 34 pounds, very light and maneuverable. I can put it on the roof of my trailer, I can put it on the roof of my truck. It gives me a lot of options. I like to canoe up north. My wife and I were just on a backcountry trip. Sometimes I don't even film these trips. I just go on them and enjoy them for the sheer pleasure of it as opposed to taking along my cameras. So this canoe is meant to be portage. It's meant to load up, throw it over your shoulders and hike through some trails and back to the next lake. So it needs to be light. But I also like fishing these Michigan rivers, and just using it on its own is a little challenging. So how it's evolved for me was the anchor system, learning how to slow things down in the river, and then just being a little more comfortable, getting these stabilizers, getting the seat up. And I gotta tell you, it's worked out pretty darn good. So I'm really happy with it. I think I can dial it in even better, so I'll eventually make a video to show you the finished product, which is still a ways away. And again, my ultimate goal is to be able to do some steelhead fishing out of it. So keep my fingers crossed and see how that goes. Anyway, so that's it. That's going to wrap up the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tagging along. I hope you enjoyed it. I really love fishing these Michigan rivers. I have the best of both worlds, being able to go to Ontario and Michigan whenever I want. Both places have so much to offer. So if you enjoyed it, give me the thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching. Cheers. We'll see you in the next one.